All right, we're back. Discipline to Win, episode 19. And today we're really going to hit on current events because there's a lot going on in the world, in the country right now. And we want to give all of our viewers our take on everything, on, the unbiased media perspective from, people that are young, just working on themselves, working on business, on their family, and, how everything that's going on in the world affects us really. And wanted to just give you our perspective on that. So I can tell you that the biggest thing in current events going on right now, obviously tomorrow we have the presidential debate, and I know there was a lot of controversy around, is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? And, it's going to be live tomorrow on Thursday. And I know we're excited to watch. I know from my perspective, I know where both sides always argue is like, what network is it going to be on? Who's going to moderate it? How are they going to do everything? And in my personal opinion, what I would prefer to see, and what I know probably most Americans would prefer to see, is sort of not a like normal presidential debate, but more of a podcast style setting to where if, the former president and the current president could sit down and actually like have a conversation together and talk about and debate like, their views on the country. I know people are always saying that Rogan would be the best setting for it. But I think that 10 years from now, media is going to be way different than it is today. And I would bet that in 10 years, the debates probably are going to be on more of a podcast setting, and the main media networks are going to be in big trouble.
Yeah, it's very interesting because there's a lot of hatred on both sides in terms of who supports each presidential candidate. And it's getting away from like the true reason of like what that position does, and it's to lead the country and to lead the American people. And it's gotten really far away from that to now it's like a hatred of both sides.
Yeah.
It's now like a attack on both sides too. If you like believe in the one person or you believe in the other person, it's not great, to be completely honest. And I don't like how it's developed, and I'm hoping that this is a year where no matter who wins, because no matter who wins, both of them they're done after that.
Right.
Like to where there's no more of either candidate, to where we get a fresh reset of people, truthfully, to hopefully younger people.
Yeah.
People that obviously have experience but are a little bit younger than what our current two options are.
Yeah.
Because I think that's really important too.
I think like us as two guys in our 20s, I do not think we have the experience to like hold that type of position
in our country.
Yeah, I think that like that type of position, you need a significant amount of experience and just like life experience in general. Like, hey, like we like work really, really hard. We try to get as much knowledge as possible, but life experience is valuable. Like we were talking about this last night in the car, to where like at some point like in your life, the longer you're around, you see a whole lot of things and you gain all that additional perspective, to where like we don't have that. So I'm definitely not saying, hey, I think, the country should be run from some dudes in their 20s or women in their 20s or even people in their 30s. I think the sweet spot personally would be, 40s and 50s. I think that's when people are at like prime in their life of, they still are very, very sharp, very intelligent, have tons of time left to really run really hard. To where somehow in our country we've found ourselves that it's people in their 80s that are running the country, to where I have, grandparents, you've had grandparents in their 80s, like they are nowhere near at the prime decision-making space, rationalization space in their life, health-wise, to be able to stand the test of the stress, to where how we found ourselves in this spot, really, where it's like these are our two options, where it's like two white men in their 80s.
Yeah. No, it's really interesting. And like I said, I think like it's going to be, it's the next 4 years of either or.
Yeah.
Still going to be an 80-year-old man in there. But hopefully after that, there's a turn of less hatred from both sides, and there can be some type of coming together where it goes back to kind of how it normally was, where like, depending on what party you believed in or what candidate you believed in, like you'd still have a conversation with that person.
Yeah.
Where like now that's kind of gone away. It's like a battle between the people, and it's really divided the people. And I mean, if we look back into history and like the mid 1800s, where there was large conflict between like the North and the South over certain reasons, and that caused a civil war. To where, not to say that would happen today, but it's in a mindset of the people where that's how it is. It's like two such opposing sides.
So like you're with me, or I don't even want to talk.
Exactly, two such opposing sides of belief, to where it's scary. Obviously, I think we're in a point now where people saw what happened. I like to say that people do remember history and do remember how detrimental that was to the country in terms of coming out of that.
Like
where it took
and
so many
grand
years.
scale of things, it was like yesterday, basically.
Exactly. Yeah, but yeah. So that
like me and like my wife don't even agree on like most things politically, and like we're married. To where it's like the fact that people can't even like, they don't even want to associate with, like, forget about like marrying each other. Like people don't even want to associate with people that aren't the same exact political beliefs anymore. It's definitely way different today than like when I remember growing up, as far as like where, you know, politics were, where people almost like, they just embody they sort of let it become like who they are and what they represent. And if people aren't the exact same, it's like, I don't even want anything to do.
Yeah, I think media had a lot to, I mean, even just settings like this, like where you're podcasting and there's so many people that are sharing their opinions. There's less access to information.
That's true, yeah. Now it's like in front of everybody every day.
Yeah, you got your information from like the newspaper.
Yeah, that's true.
There was no like blogs.
Yeah, I guess people weren't like sharing things on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, like every day in your face.
It could have, like, people probably thought a very similar way, but the information wasn't shared, so there wasn't this development of resentment towards each side because there was less access to that information. You literally show up to the poll, you did your
vote. That's it.
No one talked about it. Like no one was like, oh, I voted for this person. Like now that's the whole thing. Like it's so public now, to where there's good reasons for that there's more access to information, but it's also been a detriment on the side of, it's caused a lot of conflicting viewpoints from a standpoint of like people can't even get along anymore. They like can't be friends with somebody who is of a differing viewpoint. So yeah, it's very interesting. I think it's developed a lot, even just in a very, very short period of time, just with the like technology advancement that we've had over the last like 15 years, of how much access to the access to information that people have is incredible.
I mean, right now, like, content is currency.
Yeah.
Like, in media has just become, like, I would say right now, it's almost like the Western frontier of media. You know, everyone is trying to, like, just like almost like a gold rush with just content and just market share of people's attention. Like, time and attention are extremely valuable. So everyone's trying to get as much attention as possible, because that's going to just build their personal brand, build their business. And I think that, you know, this segueing into a different topic, but if you want to compete in 2024 in business, you have to allocate a lot of resources towards garnering attention and capturing that digital market space, or else you sort of like can fade into obscurity.
Yeah, because you have to, I mean, and Gary Vee talks about this all the time, of like where's people's focus? Like look at, if you take every single person in the United States and across the world, like take their phone and see how much screen time they have. I can almost guarantee you their screen time is probably more than the time that they're actually sleeping, with how much screen time that people have, to where if that's where the attention is, like that's where you should be. Right. Like people aren't, it's not the same as like people are getting their information from just like going to a coffee shop and picking up a newspaper, or like hearing it on the news. Like it's all on their phone, on different social media platforms, to where you have to be there if you want to continue to advance your business, if you want to continue to scale your business, get to the next level. It's very rare. And I think that's why you're seeing, it's another reason why you're seeing mass consolidation of business now, to where the companies who figured that out and are on online platforms and do a really good job of capturing the consumer's attention are buying up the small mom and pop shops that, yes, they have great businesses, but nobody knows who they are. And they're getting purchased, and then they're getting rolled up into these platforms where they can get the information out to the people and continue to grow and cultivate those businesses, to where it's incredible how much personal brand has developed in the last 5 years. And if you're not doing it now, we were late.
way late.
When we started last year, that we were really late. There was guys doing it before it was even cool to do it, like back in 2010, and they were doing literally grinding away. And now it's a dime a dozen in terms of podcasts and people on content. But if you're not doing it now, start somewhere. Like start getting your content out there, because I can almost assure you that no matter what you're talking about, somebody is going to resonate. Somebody is going to agree with the information that you're sharing, or at least just like your viewpoint on the information that you're sharing, to where it's more important than ever now to get on social media. And
100%. It doesn't matter what age you are either. Some people try to say like, oh, I'm like too old for this or whatever. It does not matter how old you are. You need to figure it out. It's like, I would say the, new battleground in business that you're either going to get like left behind or you're going to get with the times to continue to move forward. And I would say right now, like if you're getting with the times in business, aside from the media and aside from the attention, I can say that something that we have developed a lot into, to where when you're naive in business, I think you think everyone is a competitor. Something that we're figuring out is you can find ways to turn your competitors into allies, and I think scale a lot quicker as a large group than just really as individualized people. We've seen that a lot lately.
Definitely. It goes back to the mass consolidation. Like you see less and less people. When it was like 50 years ago, and even before that, people would be like, oh, I'm going to like start a bakery, or I'm going to start like a pizza shop, or I'm going to start like a welding shop, or what. There's less of that now, because the big names are consolidating those existing businesses. And then people within our generation, they're not doing that. Like the majority of people are going to the corporate, or they're going to the large entity, because one, it is easier to get a start. Like if you're starting with a large company, there's benefits in place. You have a consistent salary. You're not just like going out on your own and having to build everything yourself. So you're seeing those in every single space. I mean, we see it in our space. You see it a lot going on in like the electrician space, the plumbing space, the HVAC space, where these companies, and these small companies are getting
pest control. You met Wild Air.
Pest control is another huge one. There's so much consolidation in that space. You see it at the largest scale with the banks. You see how like it happened in 2008, happened a little bit when the smaller banks started to crash about a year and a half ago. That's going to continue to happen. There's still going to be consolidation within pretty much every single industry, which means you either have to get on the side of being the consolidator, or you're going to get consolidated, because you're either going to go buy or you're going to get bought, is essentially what's going to happen, especially if you're in a business. It's going to be very, very hard for you to compete if you're not growing and you're not adding infrastructure with these large entities, because they have ridiculous amounts of capital and they have ridiculous amounts of people. And those are the two things that you need if you really want to go out and make an impact at a large scale. So yeah, it's a very exciting time, I think, for us, for a lot of people in business that are in the like acquisition space,
100%.
because there's so much opportunity.
100%. Which you like, again, to capture that opportunity, you need attention. Something that I almost hate to give them more advertising almost at this point, but something obviously caught our attention. So we're obviously huge into golf. We love golf. Plays so well into business, and the PGA Travelers Championship was over the weekend, and everyone saw on the 18th hole the protesters that stormed the course with like, I don't know if it was smoke grenades, spray paint, like that. And they're like trying to paint the course. And I mean, in their mind, I think it was like a climate change cause or something like that. But in their mind, they're like trying to change the world. But in reality, there was probably 10,000 people at events that like, now hate those.
That all hate you.
Hate those people because you're doing a good thing.
To where you could go online and you could express your feelings about climate change or whatever you want, and you find people that are also like-minded, and they will follow you and like actually like what you're having to say, rather than trying to be a disruptor of like a pretty civil and an event that's like for the people, and they're not like looking for that. Like that's the wrong you're going towards.
I mean, I would think audience. A golf course I would say is pretty good for the land. Like you're not like cutting down like the forest, like usually golf courses are sort of just like built into the topography that they're at, and then that land is protected from like, you know, any development being built on it or like manufacturing being built on it. So for sort of the climate change people to target golf, I think was a very weird thing. And I guess like, I don't know if you know anybody that's ever been super passionate about protesting. I think that, you know, America, it's good that you can protest in America, like in a civil way and not have to worry at all about repercussions for your feelings. But I know since 2020, I think we've seen a shift from peaceful protest, to like destruction protest. Like, do you know anybody like in college or anybody from high school that you know has gotten involved in any of this?
Zero.
Yeah, neither do I.
I don't really know anyone. It seems to be, and I hate to label it like this, but it's a lot of times if you were to go person by person in those crowds, you're not going to find anyone who's going to civilly express their feeling. I feel like is on here, is going to do it on.
True, yeah.
They're not going to go to the street and like break the window of somebody's business and steal their goods to like prove a point with some type of something that happened in the world. Like that's, to me, that's not productive. Like you raising hell and like doing destructive acts to normal citizens, I don't understand how that would ever get your point across. I think the people who have the most effective points are the people who get on a podcast or online and share their thoughts.
Have a conversation.
Whatever, exactly. Have a conversation. And like, that's really how you show viewpoint. I don't think you show viewpoint by like destroying a target and stealing all of the goods inside of it to say like, oh, well, like because this happened, this is what I'm going to do. Like, I don't know.
Even like all the universities have been in the news where like the anti-Semitic like protests where like students were basically like taking universities hostage, like setting up encampments. Like there was, I forget what university, but they like took a couple employees like hostage basically in the building. And it's like, I just can't wrap my head around a world where, you know, I mean, these students are going to jail.
Yeah.
And like their life is now ruined. And unfortunately, like these are kids that I'm sure in 10 years when they're a little more mature are going to look back like, wow, I ruined my life.
Yeah.
For something that honestly like had no effect on them in any way, shape, or form.
So many things are blips too. Like you look at like there's such blips in history of like it matters for like 3 months and then like nobody really talk about it again. Yeah. And a lot of times it like is obviously political and there's different factors that play into that. But like And the good thing is you talk about it online. It's not, you're not like destroying anything. You're not like causing harm to people. Yeah, people may not like what you say or people may not like your viewpoint and they might not watch you or give you comments that are destructive, but like they're not like going out and ruining your business or like causing harm to you physically. So yeah, it's a very interesting, I guess, idea. It's something that in the past, I think, again, before there was so much access to information, there's always so much, there's wrongdoing and there's things that should be processed.
Yeah.
There's things that people should voice their opinions about. And it was different when like you'd see the protests going on, there'd be a picture on the front page of the newspaper. Right. People would be like, oh, okay, like this was going on. You wouldn't hear any like, oh yeah, they actually like ransacked buildings and like
town on fire.
Yeah, we're like killing innocent people or like hurting innocent people. Like that, I don't think was going on. Now you just see that a lot to where it's sad and it's destructive.
And honestly, it's gonna, I think, diminish whatever your cause is. It
does diminish what you're
like. I've never like, and since it's been sort of almost acceptable in a weird way in America over the last 4 years to voice your cause, but then destroy whatever town or place you're in to get that across. I immediately, even if it's like the best cause in the world, would be like, wow, these people are idiots. Yeah. And I want nothing to do with that cause. I think it's doing the, like, yeah, I know they're trying to get attention and get people talking about it, which we are right now. But I now look down on whatever their cause is. Because they have the mindset that it's okay to like cause chaos.
Yeah.
So I think people are hurting themselves or their cause more than it's helping.
Yeah.
Like in a way. So I think that it's like super counterproductive. And I don't know how it's generally like young kids. I don't know like how they even get to this point where in their mind it like rationally makes sense.
Yeah. A lot of frustration, I would imagine. Probably just, and again, like lack of being heard is like, I think a big thing. to what
I like, and if you also look to see like the people generally that are doing this type of protesting, like if you go to like all of the principles of everything that we believe in, like having discipline, like, you know, physical fitness, like being a positive member in your community, like being there for your family, like all these different things, like you never see someone in the crowd that it looks like they have like all those things going on in their life.
Yeah.
It's people that look like they've gotten lost in society. So if like you're listening to this and you're one of those people that you feel like you have nobody to identify yourself with or nobody to talk to, like start doing all of these things that are important to us. Like pick something to have discipline with in your life, like show up to the gym, like make a new friend and like be positive for them. I think that you like, as the more you surround yourself with those good things, then the bad things like that, like actually you look at that as a bad thing. Where I think a lot of these people want to feel like they need to be a part of something, to where like they have no dog in the fight of whatever the cause is. They're just like, oh, I could be a part of this thing or this movement almost, to where that might be the reason, I guess, that like so many young people find themselves in that.
Yeah, people are lost. People don't have like any sense of belong,
purpose, like no vision of their life.
Yeah, to where if you can like cultivate something that is positive, even if it's just for yourself, like you said, even if it's just like something that you're trying to do for yourself, get in better shape, learn a new skill, be a part of a group. You always see these groups that are near where I live, and it's funny. They're like these huge running groups where it's like a mix of like the most random people, like young people, older people, but they're like 100 deep, and they all like,
they go on like a 5-mile run or something.
Well, they go on a run, and then I can never get coffee at the place I get coffee on Wednesdays because they like mob this coffee shop. But like, they're all such good friends. They're like all are like
they're healthy.
And they're all on this mission together of like just like running, and then like some people use it as a dating platform. Other people use it as like, oh, they meet other couples that are like running, or they meet like business interests, like you see like people talking and whatnot. So like joining something like that, that's like wholesome, and like you can meet other people that are like-minded on like a similar goal, but it's in a way that's like productive, non-constructive. Like that's, I think, the type of things, like if you want to like get started, and there's just so much access to that. Again, we go back to access to information. You go on Facebook and use anything that you're interested in the world, whether it be like you're a runner, you're a weightlifter, like you like painting, like whatever it is. I can guarantee you there is a group out there of hundreds of people that will also like really enjoy that and would love for you to like come join their group and be a part of whatever is going on. So
100%. The last thing I think I want to touch on, something that we're passionate about, and it goes right in line with finding a group of positive people. If you are like a really any age, you know, man or woman, and you're looking to like improve your network, meet like-minded people, be a part of something that's generally good. It also is like a physical activity that helps you like stay healthy. Like if you're under 30 or under 40, like to go out and join a country club is like $300 a month, you know, $400 a month. And don't look at it as like, oh, that's like you're burning money towards like a hobby. Like use that as an investment in building out your network and improving your self-worth and surrounding yourself with more valuable people, which helps with everything we ever talk about on this podcast. To where I think that, you know, there is a lot of value in that. And even if it's not a country club, like go and
like
pay
any social club.
Pay the $250 a month to join like Equinox Gym. Like just like if you have nobody in your circle that is a positive person, has any of these attributes that we're talking about, it's important of people to surround yourself with. Find a place where you can pay to surround yourself with those people and be around people that you think are better than you, or, you know, you think have more success that you've had, or that know more knowledge than you. Like literally there are so many organizations and ways that you can sort of pay to level up in life, and anyone can figure out how to make an extra $200 to $400 a month to do those things. You can get a part-time job to fund that. You can do a side hustle to fund that. You could literally stand on the side of the street and ask people for money, and after a couple of days have $300. So there's no excuse that people can't figure out how to like fund that thing. But I think that would be a great investment for anyone listening to this. A cycling club, you know, like literally any type of club that you have to pay like, you know, $200, $300, $400 a month to join. It's going to way level up your life.
No, I completely agree. I think the biggest thing is just the goes back to the purpose. Like, find what your purpose is, find what you're trying to accomplish.
What do you enjoy?
What do you enjoy? Pick one thing at first. You don't have to figure it all out at once. If you're literally at rock bottom, like, it's not like you have to come out of it and be like the best person ever within a couple of months. Like, pick one thing to focus on. I would always say like health and fitness is like the number one thing you should probably start with.
It doesn't cost anything.
It doesn't cost anything in terms of like taking care of yourself. And then like from there, you're going to be able to like continue to add on top of that. But yeah, no, I mean, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have a special guest on episode 20. That'll definitely be worth everybody's while to tune in to watch that. So we're going to keep it a big mystery for now, but tune in next time with us on episode 20. If you guys want more of us, can't get enough, follow us on all of our socials at YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, at Discipline to Win. We would love for you to comment, interact with us, tell us what you want more of, what you don't want any of. We'd appreciate all the feedback and we get to know you all more.